Yo, what's up, guys? We are here with a video, guys. It's been a while. We are back, and we're going to be doing consistent content just for you guys. The slower content, of course, because we drop a lot of YouTube shorts. So if you are watching the YouTube shorts, shout out to you, man. We're growing exponentially. Shout out to every one of you guys that are watching. Now we're back to the long form content. I know you guys are happy to see it. So we're looking at Sinquefield Cup. This is round 5, I believe. Let's actually check real quick. Round 6, sorry. So round 6 of the Sinquefield Cup. And in this game here, I wanted to bring this to your attention, guys. Of course, as I'm watching Sinquefield Cup, and Fabiano is leading. We can actually check the standings right now, but I definitely wanted to show you guys this game in the Sinquefield Cup. So right here, scroll down, you see Fabi is at the top with 4. He had a historic run year. I think when he won 7 in a row. I forgot what year that was, but yeah, this is kind of like his tournament. So, but at the end of the day, look at this game here with MVL and Norderbeck here. So the reason why I'm bringing it up is because there were so many tactics and things to actually emulate from this game that you can actually do in your own games with the black pieces. I really wanted to bring this up because it was something I liked that he used MVL against Norderbeck. So C4, E5. With this E5 move, is generally just taking a center. You can play Knight of 6. You can play G6. This is stuff that MVL has played before, knowing him as a Grenfell player. But he went with the E5 option, which is very nice. I've actually just literally, before I did this video, I was waiting for this game to end. I just won a game, actually, by playing D6 and E5, actually. So I went into kind of they call it a classical Dutch type of setup, but E5 and F5 way. So it's really fun to play. I go with E5. And then, but he goes E5 in this game. Knight to C3 happens. And bishop to B4. So you get the bishop outside the pawn chain before he, plays D6 or captures on C3. Type ideas. So knight to D5. Sort of like a Trumpowski in reverse in a way. When you'll see in a Trumpowski where white goes bishop G5. We end up going knight E4 and then playing C5 and stuff like this. So sort of the same, but not the same. In fact, that would be like the knight on F3, but some type of Trumpowski-ish, just in reverse. So bishop went back to E7. We're going to give this bishop up anyway. We didn't want to go all the way back to F8 because it just kind of not undevelops our piece. We're going to play knight of 6 later. So D6, knight of 6, C5. All normal stuff. I like this, that he have the Botvinnik kind of pawn structure in the center so far. With these pieces, looks pretty good. Bishop G2 and knight to C6. And then what I like here is he didn't go for the regular castle. Notice here how black actually didn't castle immediately. And I want you to pay attention on how MVL actually played this, because this is something you can start using today and even in MVL style, which is an aggressive player, to play moves and actually sequences that he did right here. So this is a very nice breakdown I want to show you guys. And lots of games in particular that we can show, but this one and also the one with Gukesh playing with Najdorf, or Gukesh playing Perugia in a Najdorf, which looks like it's going to be a draw, which we'll glance at. But I was going to show, it was either going to be that one or this game because I was looking for more of a dynamic game. And I definitely love a Najdorf Sicilian myself from the black side. But in this game, this actually caught my attention because of how MVL played this game. So after bishop E6, D3, H6. So still not castling yet. Still not castling. Check this out. So he goes E4, Queen D7, Knight D5, and then Rook B8. Still not castling, guys. It's like, wow, when would you castle, right? Check this out. A4, Bishop H3, still not castling. Bishop D2, still not castling. B6. And then after Knight C7 check, and this is a cool check, right? This check is very, very, creative. What does this check do? It is hanging, but he's saying, I want the bishop pair, or you're going to move your king out of the way. And he was like, well, you should have castled. But he's like, I don't care about none of that. I don't care. King F8, and we great. Move out of the way. So he's going in on an all-out kingside attack. So one thing to notice here, and this is something that I want to point out to you guys, that you can use in your own games. With this bishop here like this, the plan is very simple. H5, H4, take and play Queen H3 and try to mate very quickly. So let's see what happens. He goes A5, locks down everything on this side of the board first. Knight E1, he takes first, which it probably wasn't necessary, but he just saw that it was. You could have just played H5, even the engine agrees to as well, but yeah, he was like, you know what, I don't want any problems later on, so he actually takes, moves the knight first, closer into the position, and then he developed, or after captures, now we can play H5, H4, which ends up happening. H5 happens, and now black has a slight initiative here from a human standpoint. From an engine standpoint, it's equal, but from a human standpoint, there is actually a lot of play. So bishop takes D4, E takes D4, F4, and then F5. I guess he didn't have to really play F5. Engine says maybe he probably should have played F5. In fact, I'm actually looking for H4, but I'm curious, why not H4? It's just G4. He didn't want G4 to happen. Okay. So he wanted F5 to stop that. So, okay, F5, let's refresh. F5, Knight f3, maybe knight g5, but we'll snap that off. He goes h4 anyway, and now you can tell the black has an initiative. It's not, you know, game over or nowhere near. Later on, it was pretty crazy, but you see how he didn't castle, and he was able to just attack him using his pieces, right? And you want to actually think outside the box and be creative. This was MVL. This is what he did in this game. I thought this was pretty fire. So after G takes h4, bishop takes h4, b3. In fact, the miss here was actually with queen d2, which is a normal and natural move. I think a lot of you guys, even watching this video right now, would probably go for a queen d2 or e2 just to defend here. b3, definitely an interesting move. Now, after rook e8, really kind of, I guess, putting some pressure on the e4 pawn. That's probably the best way to put that. So he pushes e5. We have g5 here, which is a brilliant move in a way from a human standpoint. We're breaking the game up. And after pawn takes, bishop takes g5. Now we're already better, threatening check. And if knight takes, there's queen h2 mate. MVL was cooking this game. So after takes, there's check. Rook d8, engine didn't like that. They actually liked a few other moves. Rook g8, which threatens mate. Rook a2 is another, wait, rook a2 is not a move. So rook g8, f4, and it looks like queen g3. Interesting. But he went for a human move, rook d8. Just don't want to deal with these pawns. I want to take, and maybe he will even put all three on the h file at some point. So queen e2, rook takes, get my pawn back. I'm also threatening this one too as well. Knight g1, queen h5. He goes for the queen trade. So we trade them, boys, off. And then after rook a2, rooks takes on d5. So now we actually have an extra pawn here, black that is, 4 pawns to 5 pawns. Knight f3, king f7, and here's where it gets very interesting here. Of course, black is the one fighting for, actually, no, wait. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he does have 5 pawns. For some reason, I'm like, wait, is this enough pawn? Yes, it's the same amount of pawns. Or black is up a pawn. You know what I mean here, guys. Black has 1 extra pawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got that under control. Forget about the pawns now. We got an extra one, says black, but we have some initiative to do as well, even the eval bar. But remember, these players can't see the eval bar, so this is really just for you guys. Always try to train without the evaluation bar. But with that being said, is black has an initiative. I have an extra pawn. My pieces look great. I'm going to try to bring the king up. It looks like white's king may be in some trouble, and this pawn could be weak. Let's see what happens. Rook to d8, bringing the rook maybe around to g8 or h8 as well. Rook to g2, king back up to f6, or not back, but just moving up to f6. Getting the king a little bit more active, and here comes some nasty moves here. After bishop f4 check, king h3, staying around the pawn. Rook e8, and here we go with a move, rook e1, and can you find the move that MVL played in this position? He plays, pause the video if you need to. This was an absolutely sick move here. He wasn't able to, like, you know, I'm not even going to spoil it, because that's going to spoil it. Maybe if you saw in the beginning, you know, not that kind of spoiled it, but at the same time, I'm not going to spoil it. Here it is. Black to move. What do you play in this position? MVL chooses the move. Are you ready? Here it is. The move he chose was rook takes h4. Oh my goodness. God. Hit him before you're splitting. There it is. Rook takes h4. Brilliant move, by the way. The idea here is if king takes h4, rook h8 is actually mate. So knight takes h4 and rook takes a1, h1 or e1. And now we have an extra pawn. So now let's see the rest. The rest is about conversion. Rook g6 check, king out of the way. King back to g2 to not allow any checks, of course, and picking up the knight if the rook would have moved. So rook e2 check, and here is what blows the advantage. Yeah, it happened like that. He thought a little bit. Rook e2 blows the advantage. What he was supposed to play, which is not the easy, well, maybe not the easy, but rook to d1, and he goes after this pawn. Is what he was supposed to go for. I don't think he liked. Let me see what happens on rook takes b6. Rook takes. Knight takes f5. I think he didn't like this. And apparently, this is just winning. Something like this. Easier said than done, especially with his time that he has with only 5 minutes on the clock. But he went rook e2, king here, rook around, and then after takes. Now we have what they say is all rooking games are drawn. You know, all the rooking games are drawn. So that's what they like to say. But okay. So rook check, and then, you know, they maneuvered a little bit around. He took the rook, and now, you know, the rest was honestly a draw here. And they just kind of shuffled around. He played b5. This move's interesting. He's trying to create something, but he's not really going to do nothing. He's going to get the king around like this and grab the pawn, and it's still going to be a draw. King takes. And here we are, guys. It's just, you know, they walked around. They walked the kings around. He wanted to see if Norderback knew what he was doing. And, of course, he did. a4, takes. And now there's opposition. You can even try c4 too as well, which he didn't. And he walked his king around. And if you try the c4 move with the intention of c4, pawn takes, king here, king moves back, actually. King takes, king gets in front of the pawn. That's a theoretical draw. So even having this extra pawn, it's theoretically drawn. Takes, opposition, in front of the pawn. straight back, all of what you're supposed to be doing, straight from the book, theoretically drawn. King c3, opposition in front of the pawn, and a draw and a stalemate. So this is a really nice game. Hopefully you enjoyed this game and you learn something from it. Well, one thing I think is you can learn is that you don't have to always castle as quick as you need to, especially when you see the Finchetto type of setups that black can go for, white or black can go for. You don't always have to just castle as quickly as possible. You can try to go for at least this type of setup here, h5, h4. He actually got a winning position at some point, but just couldn't convert here. So very nice to understand that you still can go for these type of attacks here. And also you don't have to always play King's Indian and Grunfeld for your King's Indian and Grunfeld players out there. Shout out to you. I love you because I'm the same. But of course, things will change, and you can also play different openings, as MVL did as well. But he didn't go with his regular bishop g7 stuff. He chose to play e5, move 1 against the English, which is c4 to take some central control. Then after the Finchetto, he went for a kingside attack, still staying true to his nature, which is an attacking player. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. This is Sinquefield Cup, and this is one of Sinquefield Cup round 6, and one of our videos that we're going to be doing more of these, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channels. We're working on 100K subscribers. We have 40K, so almost halfway there. So we are at 40K or over 40. So shout out to all you guys. Thanks for watching here. This is round 6. Ali Reza and Gukesh are still playing. This is a knight of Sicilian that he's trying to convert the extra pawn that he has here, bishop versus knight. This one's still going to be going. Maybe we'll cover this one tomorrow. We're gonna try to drop as many videos long form as we can during the week, as much as we can during the week. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for all your continued support, and I'll see you on the next video.